Hello, everybody. This is Dane Genter with the Standing Back Up podcast. I'm here with my special guest today, James, the Thinking Convict. If I'm not mistaken, I think you did 31 calendars. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. 31.
In the state of Louisiana, is that right?
Deep South Louisiana. That's right.
Is that where you grew up at?
Yeah, I grew up in Baton Rouge, in the streets and that sort of thing. And
Yeah,
it's real easy to get caught up when you're out there in the streets.
man, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's one of those
Without a,
things. Mom and Daddy tried, but the streets have their own siren song, and sometimes you just got to answer.
that's the way it goes. My life, I wouldn't just say I was in the streets, but because
Right.
I grew up in a little bitty town called Franklin. It's a big town now, but it's south of Nashville. There
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't no streets there, but
Right.
I grew up around the rough crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. Did you graduate high school?
I know. I dropped out in the believe it or not, in the 11th grade. I could have finished it off. Um,
Yeah,
spent some time homeless and bouncing around among friends and getting high and doing stupid stuff and basically just trying to be a badass, be a thug.
yeah. What was your DOC?
356-109.
No, DOC, not your number. What was your drug of choice? My bad.
Oh, boy, that response came right off. Well, look,
Hey,
Monday made a year for me being out, so I still got some of the some of the
that
habits.
ain't never gonna go away, bro. That ain't never gonna go away. You gonna always know that number. I promise
The
you.
knee jerk is
Yeah,
gonna react. And look,
yeah,
I avoided all this time getting it tatted on me, like a lot of the
yeah.
convicts do. But man, it's tatted in the back of my brain, man. So
That
my DOC, as you call it, was dude, I loved the mushrooms and marijuana, and I dabbled with some cocaine and some pharmaceuticals. But
yeah.
most of the thing, my thing was excitement. That was my real drug. You know,
Adrenaline. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I loved going to battle and getting in the middle of crazy stuff and wrecking cars and cutting up, raising hell. That was the thing, man. I always had to be the loudest, the baddest, and the fastest.
well, how old was you when you got arrested?
19. When we were
19. All right.
19, came out at 51.
Oof.
Just shy of 51.
Yeah.
So
Um, So what was you sitting there thinking as a 19-year-old in jail, knowing what?
man, and see, this is something I've been asked about things like that before, bro. I don't remember what the hell I was thinking back then, man. That was a completely different person. I
Right.
just knew that uh, when you first get in, especially on a big charge like that, I had a second-degree murder charge.
Okay.
When you first get in on something like that, you're lying to yourself. You're saying, "I'm going to beat this. I'm coming out of here. It's going to work out." Man, I lied to myself for about 2.5, 3 years. I sat in the parish jail which y'all would call the county jail, for
Yeah.
for a little over 3 years, waiting to go to trial.
Mm.
And I don't think I realized that I was going to do some serious time until like the second year in, when I started talking to my attorney about, man, see if you can get me a plea bargain. I'll take about 15. And
Right.
back then, I would only had to do half that time. He said 15. He said, man, you'll be lucky if they offer you a plea for 50.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
right. So that really, I was like, heart stopped. Like, wait a minute, what do you mean?
Right.
Um, and when you're that young, man, the whole thing is really just a joke to you. It's just a big old day camp, and I wasn't even thinking about doing nothing to try and to fight the courts or learn the law or anything like that. I was just in there with all the other dudes fighting and misbehaving for the guards and shit, and just
Yeah.
being a general badass.
The
Exactly
things that
clicking.
the things that we do, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
normal. Yeah.
So
Whenever did you take a plea bargain? Or did you go to trial?
no, I went to trial. Went to trial, got
Okay.
convicted, found guilty, and sentenced to life. I don't know if how many of y'all know it, but in Louisiana and maybe two other states, life is life. There's no parole. You do it until you're dead. So
I
that's what I
didn't
was
know
going.
that.
Yeah, it's life without parole, and they mean it.
So
And
you had life
life
without.
without parole is fact. Um,
Okay. Well,
Even that didn't get real to me, dude, until I'd been like 20 years in, and started
right.
seeing dudes that had come into the system with me dying in
Right.
prison.
Yeah.
So, and I got my story was it turned out to be really, really, dude. It's like I was charmed or something, man, because I spent like the first 10 years just doing the same stupid stuff, beating my head against the wall, extended lockdown, isolation, fighting with the free folks, fighting with the other dudes in there,
Right.
doing my thing, and making sure everybody knew that, yeah, you're dealing with a man here,
Right.
the way I saw it. The next 10 was about trying to figure shit out and start getting some education and learning some trades and stuff. And the last 10 was about trying to get the hell out.
Trying to go home. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got really, really lucky because the victim's mother wanted to meet with me.
Okay.
And dude, she was so out there. There's this thing. If it's not in other states, it should be. It's called the Victim Offender Dialogue.
Okay.
And what it was, it gave the victim, the victim has to initiate it. She requested to meet with me. And we went through this whole process of facilitation and stuff and talked about it for a long time. They'd come and talk to me. They'd go and talk to her, make sure it was going to be good and safe for both of us. But she came in and she sat and talked with me, man. And that woman, first of all, she broke me all the way down. She made me understand just how bad I'd hurt somebody else in the world. Not just my victim, but
Right.
her and her husband and their family. And bro, it opened my eyes. And
Right.
then at the end of it, she decided that I was worth another chance. And she went and spoke for me. If it was not for that woman, I would still be sitting in a jail cell in Louisiana prison.
And this is the mother of your victim.
The mother of the victim. That's right.
Man, that's got to be powerful right there.
It is. It's, I was already planning, if I ever got out, to try and do some stuff to get back to keep youngsters from doing the same stupid shit I did.
Right.
But dude, that was, there's no way to describe what an impact that had. That's why I'm so focused on doing what I can to help other people, to get these guys that are, part of my mission is the homeless guys, the veterans that have been incarcerated, the fellows that are coming out. I want to make sure that they have the tools they need to succeed. Not just for them, but when somebody goes back to prison, they create another victim. They interrupt somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And so if we can give these dudes the tools they need, they're less likely to do that, less likely to create another victim. That's kind of the grind.
Yeah, that's what me and you were talking about the other day. Right. We was talking about, the reentry and how it is. And, I don't know how it is in other states, but in Tennessee, man, it's just everything is pretty sorry. Anything that you're going to get done, especially now, it's gotten worse. Whenever the money starts getting took away, we know what's going to happen. They ain't got no guards, man. They ain't got nobody work at them. So what are they going to do? They're going to do what they want to do anyway. All along, that's lock you down. I mean, that's what, and you're definitely not going to gain nothing there. I mean, people get, in my opinion, most people in this country don't have a clue, bro. They don't even, for one moment, they think of somebody gets sentenced, they go in there and they're getting rehabilitated. Rehabilitated how? How
people even want to think about it. They want to just forget about us.
Yeah. And it's like you got this false sense of these people are going in here and coming out different. Yeah, they are coming out different. They're coming out somebody that you don't want out here. And
that's right. That's right.
You take somebody, what's a young man going to do? In my case, I was young, man. I was 21, 22 years old when I went in. What am I going to do? I went in there like I had a life sentence, like an idiot, just to be honest about it, and didn't care. But, man, I saw. You kind of had them. What choice was you going? What choices you going to take? And that's, you put somebody in there who has these smaller sentences, man. The next thing you know, they got a life sentence, man.
Yep.
Or something so bad doesn't happen to them in there.
That's something that's going to change their mentality for the rest of their life.
Rest of their life, man. And that's kind of where I really finally woke up and was listening to God, because I was sitting there going, man, I ain't got no more scars on my body than I went in with all them years ago. And I could go on and on of all the different things that I just felt like had his hand on my life the whole time. And now I'm listening. I see what he's wanting me to do. And that's all this right here, just like what you're doing. You got that chance again. And it's God, and here we go. What are we going to do with it? Kind of deal.
Exactly.
Now,
exactly, dude.
If we're in there and all we're doing is violence and all that, man, what are we? You know the deal. Like me, I come straight off of Max, 23-1, straight to the street.
That blows my mind, dude. You didn't even have a chance to reacclimate to the general population.
Oh man, it was one of the weirdest things I've ever been through in my life. I'll say that it was very strange, because we don't know what society's going to feel like, but I didn't
Right.
expect it. I didn't expect it to have that feeling. It was. But all right, man. So you're in there. When did you? Like? What gave you hope? What gave you hope that you could do something with that life sentence? Like,
Man,
how did it work?
dude, I don't know. My dad once told me that I'm a terminal optimist. He said,
Okay.
he said that I'll be at my funeral talking about, wait, I'm not done. Um,
Yeah.
so I've just always had that spirit, like, hey, whatever happens, man, everything's gonna be fine because I'm a survivor. Cockroaches
Yeah.
ain't got nothing on me.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah, so that what gave me hope is just believing that this can't be it. I've got too much going on up here, and I've always been intelligent. I didn't always use that intelligent for the right things,
Right.
but I've always been intelligent, and I like to think that age and wisdom have made me start thinking of better things and better ways to try and do
Definitely.
things,
Yeah.
that are actually going to benefit not just me but the people around me.
Right.
Uh, I seriously believe that I tipped the scales way hard one way, the cosmic scales, however you decide to measure them, whether it's God, Buddha, whatever your personal system is. I believe I tilted the scales way hard one way with the crime I
Right.
committed, the life I helped to take out of this world.
Right.
Now I think it's like on me, man, to try and start leaning those scales back the other way. I know I can't ever put back into the world what I helped to take out of it, but I can sure try.
Right.
You know,
And you can try to make someone else's life a
right?
little bit better and not go through what you have gone through.
Exactly,
That's what it's
exactly.
that's what it's all about, especially about what me and you are sitting here talking. We'll get into all that later. All right, so she forgives you, and so what did you do? Did you have to get back in court? Did you have to file to get back
So,
in?
I'd already filed before this, before she even approached me, man. I'd already filed for a pardon hearing. Basically a
Right.
time clemency, and
Yeah.
that was a very rare thing. Everybody was telling us, "Hey, dude, look, it's unlikely that the pardon will ever work out." So in the
Right.
middle, I mean, just shortly after I filed for a pardon hearing, she pops up, and the facilitators popped up, and so I
Yeah.
was just like, man, I see some things aligning here. So I went ahead and sent her a copy through the facilitators, a copy of my application, telling her, listen, I just want full disclosure. I want you to know that this is what I'm going through. Now, I'm not agreeing to this meeting because I'm hoping anything's going to come out of it, but I want you to know going into this meeting that I have this on the table. And what you do with it is completely
Right.
up to you. I did my best to never make her think that I was only doing it so that I could get her forgiveness or whatever. I needed her to understand that what I was doing was putting myself there and holding myself accountable. You know,
Right.
you never got a chance to tell me what I took from you
Right.
because the system kept us separated the whole time. I need for you to be able to look you in the face and tell you, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for the life I took. I never meant to hurt you or your family. And for her to tell me what that meant to her.
Right.
That was really my overarching reason. And dude, I couldn't have expected it to work out as well as it did.
Right.
And then when I went to the hearing, and I'm sitting, we had 5 people on my hearing. One of them, get this, dude, you talk about things working together. One of the people on my panel was the judge who sentenced me
Wow.
31 years earlier.
And
So
now he's the one that's going to decide whether or not you get out.
it was a woman, and they gave me the
Okay.
opportunity to tell her to recuse herself. And I told him no. I mean, if anybody can judge me from then to now, it'll be because she saw me going through court. She knows what I was doing in that jailhouse in between court dates. She knows the guy who was standing in front of her for all those hearings, emotions, and the little thug attitude I had, where I had to come
Right.
in with a black box on every time and that shit like that. She knew. And now to see me and the things that I've done since then, who could better judge me? And that's one of the
Yeah.
things she said. She said, when that she told me right there in that hearing, she said, when I sentenced you back then, I hoped that you would turn a corner. She said that you have shown me today that my hopes played out. So, I mean, it was a great moment, dude. Man, you should have seen. Mom was crying, my old lady was crying, I was crying. It was
Yeah.
a big moment for me, man. In fact, look, one of the staff members over classification, she was sitting off camera, and when I glanced over at her, she had big old crocodile tears running down her face, man.
How
So
about that?
it was a pretty serious moment. Um, yeah, it was really good, dude.
After after they made their ruling, how long did it take you to get out?
Well, all right. After the recommendation, it has to go up to the governor. The governor
Okay.
has to sign it, and you don't know when he's going to sign it. He may never. If he leaves office with it sitting on his desk, you start over again. Or
Wow.
it was his last year in office too, so I was, man, I was nervous as shit, as you can imagine. Or he might sign it that day. So the day it happened, man, I'm at work, and it was hot. It's like we had a complete drought that summer too. We didn't have
Yeah.
rain for months, and it's like 80% humidity and 92 degrees, and I'm sweating, I'm working, I'm tired, I'm aggravated. They tell me, hey, you got to go to the gate right now. And I wanted to pop off right then because I mean I'm supposed to be off now. My work is done. But I go to the
Yeah.
gate classification officer standing there, and she says, "Do you think you can have somebody here to pick you up in an hour?" I said,
Wow.
"Yeah." I said,
The
"Say what?"
same day?
No. This was a few months later, a few months after
Okay.
the hearing. But I didn't know
Okay.
it was coming. So that the morning it did happen, like I said, I was working. I was all sweaty. This
Yeah.
is probably 3 or 4 months after the hearing. And
Right.
but dude, I said, "What do you mean here to pick you up in an hour?" She said, "Well, the governor just signed your pardon. If you can get somebody to pick you up in an hour, we can get you out of here today. If not, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow." I said, "Give me 10 minutes."
No, that's right. I can get somebody. We can get somebody.
Yeah, I'll have somebody walk up here and piggyback my ass back to Baton Rouge.
Hell yeah, quick, fast, in a hurry. So after 31 years, man, you walk out on the street.
Right.
What goes through your mind when you walk? What did you do? Walk out the gate, or they drive you out the gate?
They drive me. I went and met my old lady. She picked me up in a Mustang too. We rode out of that sumbitch in style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at first, she didn't believe me. When I called her, I had to put the damn captain on the phone with her because she kept saying,
Wow.
James, quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. Baby, I'm serious. Come get me." So I had to put the captain on the phone before she'd believe it.
And y'all were together the whole time, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we got kind of a funny story. We were together when I got locked up.
Okay.
And I mean, she was a kid, I was a kid.
Yeah.
And she hung with me for a while, dude. She really did. She did her best. But when we both realized I was about to get time, we went our separate ways.
Yeah.
And she went and had a life. She never married, but she had a kid. She started a career. She was doing really good. And then before the pardon application, before any of this other stuff kicks off, she pops back up in my life, and she's like, look, you're the one person I could never quit thinking about. She said, and this is what she tells me: do me a favor, be an asshole, so I can just get you out of my head.
Damn.
But I was like, I don't know how to be an asshole to you. And dude, that started from there on. We've been together ever since. While I was in, she stayed with me for almost 2 years before I ever got out. And with the conversations about it, I'd tell her, "Hey, baby, this might not work. I might be stuck here." And she'd always say, "Well, I'll keep coming to Tennessee as long as I can. When I get too old, I won't be able to come up here anymore."
Yeah.
So, man, that kind of loyalty, dude. Where do you find that?
We got somebody that you can't see it. I can. We got messages coming in from Brandy, and she said, "It's hard when part of your heart is behind that wall. Hard is a gross understatement." And I had somebody do a lot of time, me too, and the wear and tear on them. All right, so you come home, you go to work, I guess. How long it take you to get a job?
Well, dude, working is my thing. I love I cannot stand sitting still for any long time. So they all wanted me to sit still for a month. They kept saying, just take a month to get reacclimated. 2 weeks, that was all I could do. And I went to work for a guy who was paying me a straight $20 an hour, which turns out down here, that's pretty good. I didn't know it at the time. They paid me a straight $20 an hour to do so, to basically to build decks on the river with him. And for some rich people, some really nice decks. And it was hard work, man. I was sweating balls every day. But you know what? Man, if you look at some of the early videos on my TikTok thing, you're going to see that I was loving every minute of it, dude.
Yeah, freedom.
Man, I would hurt myself. I fell in the river a couple times. Shit was going wrong left and right, but I was loving every minute of it, dude. And one of
Yeah,
the things I say is the worst day I ever had out here was so much better than the best day I ever had inside.
man. You know, whenever I was still trying to get my feet under me, I used to be one of them. I'd try to, oh, poor, pitiful me. You know, I did all this time, and I finally I got out of that real quick. I grew up. Accountability, really,
Yeah,
for me. But that's what changed it all. But that's another thing that I think keeps convicts or inmates down is that right there. Because that's all you hear. You hear all the stories, man. You get out there and you can't do nothing. You can't do this, but you can. You can.
right. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. I'm gonna tell you something else, man. I was in I don't know how they do the hobby shop where you are, but the hobby shop here in Louisiana, you can do woodwork and leather work, that kind of stuff, and you can sell it, and the money goes in your account. You
Right.
can't ever sell it for much. They put price limits on shit and all that. But dude, I worked my ass off. I got really good at woodwork and making cabinets and that sort of stuff. And every time I'd get $100 in my account, I'd send it to the bank, send it to the bank, send it to the bank. And I walked out the door and was able to buy myself a old beat up '09 work truck. And
Wow.
hey, dude, I paid a little over $8 grand for it. It runs rough and it sounds like shit and it looks like a limping dog, but it's my truck. It gets me to and from work. Can't nobody take it from me. It's got my name on the title, and I can throw whatever I want in the back of it and go to work. And dude, I love that truck because that truck was the first thing that I really had out of prison that I could say 100% was mine that I worked for with my own two hands.
Yeah, I mean that's a big accomplishment, man. You know, that's one of the things that you can kind of see it in people when they get out, kind of what they're going to do. It's the same thing in recovery, just like when somebody goes to treatment. They come
Right,
out and
right, right. Yeah,
they're not doing anything, but they want this big miracle to happen, man. I want this big miracle to happen. Well, it's going to happen if you'll do some work for it.
you'll
But
do
just
some work
sitting
for life.
there, it's not going to happen, man. And I was one of them too. Again, it's back in that poor pitiful me. No, if God loves me like that, I can just sit here and He's going to hand me everything. That's just not true, man. Because
No,
for
it
me,
really is.
I educated myself in there. That's what I did.
It's good.
I
It's
didn't
good.
have I didn't have an education on the street just because I didn't want to go to school. I was just a problem child from birth, I guess. But
Right.
um, I got it, and a lot of people don't even do that because, like I said, in Tennessee, man, they have a few little, uh, like they have like a cement school or something, but they have the woodwork and leather, but you can't ever get to it no more because it's locked down all the time.
Oh yeah.
Anything that was going on, they built
So
a big prison.
y'all got
Go ahead.
staffing problems there in Tennessee prisons.
Yeah, from what I understand, right now we do. I've been talking to a few people in there, and yeah, they're locked down
Same
all the
thing
time.
here, too, man. Same thing here too. And then listen, here's something else huge that just happened. We went from a Democrat liberal governor who signed a lot of pardons. Mine was one of them. And got a lot of guys. And look, every one of the pardons he signed, every one of the dudes that came home on life sentences and 90-year sentences and all that, every one of those dudes is out here doing well, man. Every one of them is working. They're paying their bills. They're not reoffending. So, I mean, big ups to them. And I'm one of them. This new governor, though, they went the other extreme. They got a really conservative Republican governor. And one of the first things he said at the opening of the legislature is that the left is trying to open doors for offenders. I'm here to shut them. And he
Really,
just passed a law taking parole eligibility away from violent offenders and sex offenders. And he just cut good time all the way down back to 85%. You got to do 85% of your sentence now. So in Louisiana, I don't know if you know or not, has always been the incarceration capital of the world.
yeah,
We put more people per capita in prison than anywhere else on the planet. And
yeah.
we had lost that title for a little while. I think Mississippi had gained it after we dropped down. Well, you can imagine what's about to happen now. That population,
They're fixing to build more prisons. That's exactly what's going to happen.
and
That's what Tennessee did,
yeah,
in a different
it's
way.
probably the same thing. Yeah, I'll have a bunch of
Now
DOC
theirs
holding
is a little bit.
facilities.
Well, what they did is they went and made a life sentence with parole to
Right,
be. It used to be 25. Now it's 51. So you got to do 51 before you can even go up for parole. All
right,
right.
yeah,
And they did that to what? To build these prisons, in my opinion, because
yep,
you already know it's money.
yep.
It
It's,
just is.
absolutely. So what they've got here is what they call DOC holding facilities. They get these local sheriffs to build basically warehouses, and the overflow from the Department of Corrections goes to these holding facilities. These holding facilities,
Right.
they don't have ED programs, they don't have AANA, they don't have anything. It's just a warehouse where these guys just sit for years, dude, years. And you can imagine the level of violence there when you don't have anything to distract anybody.
Know all
And
about it.
they pay these sheriffs so many dollars per head. So these sheriffs are like, well, shit, if we keep getting money for all these people in our holding facility, we need to lock up more people. And it starts as just this vicious cycle, dude. It's a money game. It absolutely is. People think it's not, but man, I have seen the paperwork. I worked at the prison magazine for quite a few years, so I got access to a lot of research, dude. And when you start putting the numbers together, you realize it's exactly what it is. The only thing worth more than our asses is oil.
Yep.
So,
Brandy just asked, had you ever been to Angola?
yeah, briefly. I went to Angola to start. Yeah, I wasn't there long. And then they transferred me to David Wade, which is way up in North Louisiana. And in 2009, I transferred from there and went down to Elaine Hunt, which is down here close to where I am now.
What do y'all got? Y'all got open bays or y'all got cells?
Open. And see, that's the other thing. Well, I don't know. It may be the same in Tennessee because Tennessee's kind of southern too. The southern prisons, they want people who can work the fields.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so
I ain't like it. Ain't nobody working no fields or nothing here.
Really?
They shut the farm down, bro. There ain't none of that. There ain't none of that. That's what I'm telling you.
I remember
they used to have.
Yeah, I fell in 92. And back then in 92, when you came in, it was you were going to work and you were either going to be the prey or you're going to be the predator.
Yeah.
You know,
I went in 98 and they still had the farm, and they used to dairy farm, and they had other little stuff, but they shut all that down. They did away with a whole, like 2 whole minimum security places in Nashville. Used the flood as the excuse just to build more medium security prisons because you get more money for medium than you do minimum. People have that's why these county jails. That's why these county jails are so gung ho about putting you in the hole, because then it's max money. They get paid for maximum security inmates in, and people don't understand that. And that's why you get treated that way for, like, Williamson County Jail in Franklin. If I gave you a piece of candy from commissary, they'll put you in the hole for that. They'll put us in the hole for that. If I gave you something off my tray I wasn't going to eat, they'll put you in the hole for that.
Golly, yeah.
And this is the fifth richest county per capita in the United States, and they act like that.
And when they get you in the hole, every little thing you do in the hole is a violation to keep you there longer.
Exactly. Take your good time. Take you 8 days a month. Take you whatever. Yep. What was the living conditions like in Louisiana? You're not on any kind of parole or anything, are you?
Oh yeah, I'm on parole.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, you are on parole. Okay.
So they cut my sentence to 60 years, which means I had to do. I'm still under the old law. I only had to do half. So I've got to do another. Just made a year. I got to do another 28 years on paper. If I hope I can make it off parole, I'll be an old ass man, but I plan to live forever anyway. So
that's they say some of us get preserved in there, man, and we get out here and we're healthy and all this stuff.
Dude, I got ID'd to buy some beer the other day. I was so happy.
Don't that make you feel good? Yeah, I don't feel 48. I'll be 49. I don't feel my age. But I just hope the bottom don't fall out. What was your living conditions like in there? Pretty much like everybody talks about. Was it?
Yeah. It depends on where you are. It's an open dorm. The guy next to you is 18 inches away. And then they'll jam you in quick. They bunk bedded in a couple of the dorms where I was, but it was only the back rows that were bunk bedded.
Okay.
Now some of those holding facilities, they have triple bunks. Yeah. So, and I never touched that. They won't put lifers or people with big time in the holding facilities, right? Because then they'd have to spend more money on security.
Yeah.
And if you're spending more on security, you're losing money for your bottom line. But the DOC prisons, they put some bunk beds in there, but for the most part, it was single beds. And in like 2001, when they first tried to bunk bed the dorms, there was a big old hunger strike, which turned into a big old riot, and they decided that no, they didn't want to go through that shit.
Right.
So they pulled the bunk beds back out. But as far as living conditions, the last place I was, you're in a dorm with 134 people, and you're 18 inches away from the guy next to you. You got a stand-up locker that separates your 2 beds, and then a foot locker. You got 3 showers for everybody, 3 toilets, and a urinal. It's
Damn.
yeah, it's pretty wide open, and you know you got to be ready to protect the little bit you got. It's a fact.
That's the one good thing about Tennessee is that it's sales, man, 2-man sales.
Yeah,
We've got a couple of open bay, and it's just like one's at an annex, and then the pretty much the wildest prison in Tennessee has an open bay. Go figure that. But and like living conditions aren't that horrible, man. I mean, you got air conditioner and heat, and
yeah.
Tennessee prisons,
No
you know.
AC. No AC.
Ooh. Yes, I hear about all this and in Louisiana and stuff. And Tennessee, man, really, as far as that kind of stuff goes, is not that bad. Then, like, they let you have a TV. You can have a TV in your cell, you know, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And
There's one TV for per. They have it at tiers. You got 4 tiers to the dorm, and each tier has a TV. But air conditioning, no, it's a common practice in the summer. Dudes will go and soak their towel in the shower, lay it down on the concrete, and then lay on top of it in between the bunks.
wow, just
Yeah,
to try to cool off.
Yeah, you stripped all the way down to your boxer shorts, and it's pretty serious, dude.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
Now you've been home what, almost a year?
I made a year this past Monday.
Yeah. So how's that feel?
Oh man, it was great. The partners came over. We cooked some animals, and we drank a little bit of the spirits, and had a good time. The old lady gave me a present. She gave me a battery operated nail gun. She knows the way to my heart. Power tools.
Yeah. Somebody, Brandy just said when she was in jail in 2018, she had a pen pal that was at an annex in Tennessee. Well, it definitely was not me. I was only at an annex one time, and I didn't make it but 60 days. I never made it back to minimum security again. Well, today, man,
where is Brandy?
I'm guessing she's in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I think I know where she's at. This is yeah. No, maybe I don't know. Actually, I think she's in Kentucky. I don't know. I think she's in Kentucky. But today, man, you talked about this briefly a while ago before we started recording. A lot of stuff come to my mind that I'm interested in, man, that I want to find out about. She's in South Georgia. Brandy's in South Georgia.
Hey, Brandy.
People were talking about their loved ones coming back without their organs in them, and I'm really caught up on that today.
That's spooky, dude.
That is spooky. And Alabama is the state that was brought to my attention, and like I said, like I told you, I made that video on it. But since then, all day today, when I had time here or there, I just was looking up stuff, and that seems to be a common thing all across the United States. One thing happened in Mississippi. I think Mississippi, they found all them graves behind the prison that was unmarked. Don't know who they were. In Brushy Mountain in Tennessee, it was that way. But people are saying that they're like peddling in people's organs. Now, people would sit here and say, man, ain't no way that's going on. I can see it. I can see it happening.
Yeah, especially like when you start talking about the dudes who don't have family to claim their bodies. Well, what they do is they cremate them. And who knows what was taken out of that body before it was cremated.
Yeah.
And then they're buried in little bitty boxes. We've got what we call Lone Oak Cemetery, which is right down the road from where I work. And, man, there's a bunch of graves in there from dudes that just didn't have anybody to claim them. Who knows what they did to those bodies before they were cremated? There's no way to tell. And one of the persistent rumors that I heard before I even got to prison down the road was about Angola. That if they ever excavate that levee around Angola, they'd find so many unmarked graves because, man, there was no accountability for a very long time. And we're getting away from that accountability again, especially when you get guys that have been locked up for that many years and don't have any family.
Yeah, and that you're right. We are getting away from that accountability. See, I saw in Tennessee prisons, I saw the shift to where they could get away with a lot of stuff. Then they put cameras everywhere.
Right.
And so it kind of calmed it down on that kind of stuff, except for a couple of prisons. They still known for whooping you pretty good and stuff like that. But this kind of stuff, now somebody sent me a message and said, no, it's going on in Tennessee too. I personally have never heard of that as far as this organ stuff. But now in Alabama, these people that they're saying is OD'd and they get their bodies back and they're beat from head to toe. and then they won't tell them anything, man. You
Right,
know,
right.
that's
Well,
another thing. And when we start talking about defunding the police, people don't sometimes think that through. And so what goes on in there is you got less eyes on your loved ones now. And so that means that they can get away with more. There's
that's
less
right.
people to tell. There's less people they got to worry about. And if let's just say, I'll even throw in hypothetical. Let's say they are doing this with the organs and all that. All it's going to take is somebody come from medical and offer them a bunch of money. These guys in there, because it's been a known fact in Tennessee that for years you could you could stab somebody, and if they didn't have a family or whatever, you can get away with it. You know,
Right,
you would go
right.
to max, you would go to max. You might get a little bit of time, but if they had a family that was pushing it, your ass going to get a life sentence or 25 years, you know, or something. And that's sad, man, to think about. I never had really gave it a whole lot of thought, but um, man, that's sad. And somebody was saying that, like, when you pass away, if you had a life sentence, you still had to be buried on some kind of something. They have still have to do the burial or something, some kind of crazy. I'm thinking, damn, you know, in them cases, man, there's no telling what's going on. But you know, we have to start bringing attention to it some kind of way. Just like
Absolutely.
what you're wanting to do with this reentry. All got to get together, man. Just like everything else in this country right now. Um, there's some people, man, that are suffering in these prisons, and I know they are here in Tennessee as far as the living conditions now and what's going on in them. And you know, I personally could never see myself in that position, but anything is possible. But man, it's some crazy stuff whenever your loved ones are coming back like that, beat up. You know,
Right. Yeah, no
um,
kidding, man. But see, that's why what you're doing right here, and you know the things I'm trying to do, and like 23 and one's trying to do. A lot of these guys, we've got a voice now that we've gotten out, and it's important that we're using our voice, man, because people are gonna listen, and it might just be one or two to start, but that shit can snowball, and
yeah,
before you know it, the more people know. Like I don't know if you remember, hell, it's been 20 years ago, the Gladiator School in California where
yeah,
the
I
guards
do.
were locking in rival gang members and stuff and then
Yeah,
betting on them.
yep,
You know, it took one voice. One voice
right,
got it out there and it snowballed. And before you know it was brought to a close. And a lot of it, it's happening, especially in California with these reality shows going in. It's
right,
harder and harder for them to hide things when you've got cameras and camera crews and independent people in the prisons. So,
right.
and I, again, people like you and me coming out and speaking on the stuff that we saw, it brings it to people's attention. And they can say that they don't care and it doesn't matter all they want. But when they start realizing that, hey, dude, I live in your neighborhood. I'm the guy
Yeah,
who works on your car. I'm
yep,
behind you in line at the grocery store. Yeah, it
right,
starts to matter to you real quick.
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, kudos to you, dude. Keep blowing it up and putting it out there. People
I'm
need to
going
know
to.
about
I'm gonna spend some time on this Alabama stuff next few
it.
days,
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to do other stuff. But I want people to get a hold of me that has either done time in Alabama or has a loved one, so I can do podcasts with you and then make videos. That's what we'll do. We'll keep doing it. We'll see where it goes. If the right people get a hold of it, man, you never know what may happen. But I do know people that have tried to bring awareness to like the CCA prisons, and they've been threatening this stuff. And you know, man, I don't really know what more you can threaten me with. You know, so
That
you
whole
know,
thing, the CCA and prisons for profit, dude, that is evil on evil on evil.
by
That's
far the worst prisons in Tennessee, by far, always
that's
have been, always will be,
yeah.
without a doubt.
We got we had down here it was Geo down here and it was the same
Geo,
thing, man.
yeah,
Um, dude, and then this whole thing with the telephones. What are the phone rates like in Tennessee for the dudes
uh,
they could collect calls?
about $5 for 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, if
I
y'all all
think
right, it's about $5. 15
15
minutes.
minutes for yeah,
It's so like while I was inside, my sister lives in Australia, and
okay,
while I was inside, my dad told me that it was cheaper for him to talk to my sister for an hour in Australia than it was to talk to me for 15 minutes.
that's insane.
It is, dude. It's crazy. And then when you consider that most 85% or more of the people who are in prisons come from poor freaking families that
Yep,
can't afford that, Dude, that's just criminal, man. I don't care how you cut it. That is absolutely, it's criminal. It's horrible.
Yeah,
And
it is. I agree.
back to talking about in Alabama, you're taking the poor people, the uneducated, those who don't know, and now you're harvesting their organs.
Yeah,
What
we
else
got
are you
some
doing?
mess going on there, man. As soon as I saw it, I'm thinking,
Dude,
damn,
keep
I
me
could easily.
keep me posted on that research and keep putting it out there, dude. That's
I am. I'm gonna,
one voice can change so much.
we're gonna give it a try, man. That's why I
Yeah.
need people. I need people to give me these stories and help me with that. And I'm gonna make a
I'll
video
sit
about it. Tell them.
around and see what I can find too, dude.
Yeah, make it happen. All right, man. We've been going about 40 minutes, man. Listen, I want to applaud you for what you're doing. You come right out wanting to help others, man, in there. You know what it's like to get out here, man. And people don't have a clue. You stand there and you've done 30 years and they give you $75 in a bus ticket.
Yeah, right.
And in Tennessee, if you get it once, you don't ever get it again. You
That's
only
right.
get it once. And
that's saying plenty about you, about me. Dude, we're out here doing it. And if we can do it, anybody can. We just got to try and make sure they got the tools they need to make it happen.
we do, man. And then look,
keep networking. This is how we get things done. State to state, nationwide. Let's keep networking. Let's keep letting people know that the resources are out there, the help is out there, and that we are going to speak for them. And yeah, dude, we got to be a voice for the voiceless.
That's it. Somebody used to ask me if I ever thought I would get into something like that. They kept talking about like a jail ministry and stuff. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to go back in there. And then somebody was like, well, why don't you try to be a voice for those still in there? And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then I woke up one morning and said, hey, I'm going to give this a try.
And now you're doing it. Dude, I think
now I'm doing it.
Calling. Hey, man.
Okay.
You're doing great, bro.
Okay, Brandy. Now I know who you are. Brandy is, and she's on TikTok. But listen, that TikTok thing's working. Keep growing it. And what I did is I grew my TikTok to grow the rest of this, and it's working for me. Slowly but surely, but well, not slowly. I mean, I'm getting there. But thank you for your time, man, James. And
yes, sir, dude. Look, anything I can do to support you, you just holler, man.
I will too, man. And we'll get you back on again. We'll be on a live or something. Everybody, thank y'all for coming, man. We do appreciate it. God bless. Stay sober. That's most important, y'all. Reach out to God and stay sober, man. And
stay clean, stay straight.
If you do that, everything else will work out.
All right.
Thank you, Brandy.
Dane, love you, man. Appreciate you.
Love you too, buddy. Love you too,
thanks.
buddy. I'll text you. All right, man. See you.
All right.